Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's spin this wheel again, find out which of my fairly recently purchased during the Steam summer sale, which of these games I'm going to be playing. Ooh, Funtasia. Yeah, that was on my wish list for a long time, and it went on sale during the summer sale, and that's how I got it. So let's find out why it was on my wish list in the first place. All right, everybody, let's talk Funtasia. I don't know. What else could there be? Like, I don't know. This game is weird. It is weird and wacky and wild. And I'm trying to remember why it is that because it was on my wish list for a long time, and I'm trying to remember why I put it on there. Because this is, you know how Steam does the like, oh, this isn't like anything you've ever played in your entire life. Yeah, well, that is true. This is not like anything I or you or anyone you know or anyone you've ever seen. Like, there is no analog to this game. It's weird. It's a weird little game. But is it fun? That is the big question. We'll get into that. Don't you worry. Let me tell you some things about it. So came out a year ago, about a year ago this time. So I think I wish listed it when it came out. Like, I think it was, hit this front Steam page and I looked at it and said, okay, that looks interesting. And I think it must have been one of two things that caught my eye. Either, number one, and this is less likely but possible, I used to be a huge fan of those like Rat Rod and Rat Fink and like all the cool, like there used to be a lot of cool Hot Rod shirts back in the day, and there still are. You'll still see them around. Go to a car show, you'll see like a million of them. But like the really cool Hot Rod shirts where it's some sort of a monster with a giant head and an enormous stick shift driving a hot rod of some sort that is about the same size as its body. Like, I've always been a fan of those. I have never owned such a shirt, but I have always been a huge fan of them. So, first of all, there's that. I think that's the less likely of the two options, although I couldn't tell you for sure on either of these. The other thing that I think might have been the case is that back in the early days of mobile gaming, when I had my iPad, there was this game that I really loved that was, and it was one of those ones where they just stopped supporting it early because, the iOS updates would come out and they would make the older games basically not able to run. I think that's less of a thing now than it used to be. And also developers are better at keeping their games alive. Some of my very favorite games died a horrible death because the developers stopped supporting them, and that's what happened. So anyway, basically, I think that may have been it, but something about this game caught my eye, and I was like, that looks interesting. And so I've been wanting it for a while. I got it during this Steam sale, and I'm just at a loss of what exactly to say about it. I mean, I know that you're looking at game footage and you're like, okay, it is a 2D side-scrolling racing game where you collect things and also you eventually have boss fights and stuff. You've got meters that you gotta, look out for. One is your car's balance. The other is the, because you have an electric car, that's the thing you gotta watch out for, is not to run out of batteries. Very important. Anyone with an electric car knows that. Anyway, but yeah, simple. It looks pretty straightforward. It just, is weird graphics and, weird controls and whatnot. And those things are true. But let me just give you first the backstory on the game so you understand why the things that are happening on screen are happening. Because this is, to the best of my knowledge, what the story of the game is. So there's Planet Funtasia, and there's Planet, I forget what it's called, Polludathon, something. Funtasia is a planet that has never known any pollution whatsoever. But the people from Planet Polludathon have, they've just thrown all of their garbage into space because they've run out of places to keep it on their planet. Yeah, that seems perfectly reasonable and unlike anything that I've ever heard about solutions to pollution on our planet. Yeah. Anyway, so basically what happens is that the garbage is so nasty and so wildly polluted that it becomes self-aware, which is a problem. And then, of course, it lands on planet Funtasia, where they have never known pollution. And a scientist on Funtasia is like, I know how we can clean things up. We can make these vehicles that pick up stuff, and then they can pick up the stuff and kill the bosses, and everything will be hunky-dory. Basically, that's what's going on. It probably is slightly more complicated than that, but I don't recall. Anyway, so one of the things that you're going to notice about this game right off the bat is that the controls are slippery as all get out. And you know what? This is a modern thing. We live in a time where you can make tight controls way more easily than you used to be able to. At least it seems that way. And so, making something where everything is controlled exactly the way you want it, you push the button, it goes where you want it to go, bing, bang, boom, easy peasy. But we live in a time of human fall flat and all the Octodads and all of the games where the physics are broken and the controls are mushy and things that normally would make a person say, wow, this game is terrible, except for when it's done as a design feature rather than a flaw, then it can actually be a thing. Or not. I don't know. I'm not in charge. But in general, if it feels designed and it feels intentional and it works, that's the key thing, is that oh, you can design it, but if it doesn't work, then who cares? It's gonna be terrible if you designed it and it doesn't work. And so, yeah, right off the bat, I was put to the task with this game because I kept dying again and again and again and again in the same spot. And I was getting so frustrated. I was like, man, this game is on my wish list for a year. And why in the world did I think that this was a good idea? And why did I spend money on this? I could have bought other things. I was feeling that very heavily. And then I realized, oh, there's the upgrade path for your vehicle over on the very right-hand side of the screen. Because you'll see and you'll notice that the skins, you can unlock certain skins and things. And at first I thought, well, I just need to collect enough things to unlock these skins, and then my car will be better, and then it'll be a thing. I didn't realize, because I thought the thing on the right was just showing you the stats of your current car, which it is, but I didn't realize that that was also how you selected the upgrades. So, anyway, once I learned to upgrade my car, then things started going much, much better. But here's the thing about that bothers me, just as a matter of principle, is that, okay, so you've made a game where it's broken physics a little bit and mushy controls a little bit, so that's the challenge of the game, is overcoming the like broken physics and mushy controls. Okay, that's fine. Like that, a million games that are much beloved have those things as features. Okay, so we're starting off with the understanding that that is the case. But here's what drives me absolutely batty, is that the first time that you play a level, you will not succeed. You can't. You will die. That is a given. It's guaranteed, because there will be a hill that you cannot climb. That is usually what kills you. There's a large hill that you can't climb, and so you have to upgrade, and every level is a different animal driving a different car. You can see me with the octopus man a lot, but eventually we get, you know, the kitty in the, you know, ice cream van picking up dirty diapers, which isn't that a joy and a delight. But yeah, so by the time I started playing the kitty cat level, I was already pretty good at the octopus level, and had upgraded my car quite a bit. But then you get to the next level and it's ground zero again, so you're just driving around picking up dirty diapers until you die, which you inevitably will do until you upgrade your vehicle, and that does not constitute fun for me. I don't like it is one of those things where, like, I do not love sort of unwinnable situations. I'm like Captain Kirk with the Kobayashi Maru. If you don't get that reference, like, don't worry about it. It's extremely nerdy. But basically, they put him in a no-win situation, and he, like, basically broke the simulator in order to make it a winnable situation. The test was about, what do you do in a non-winnable situation? How do you cope with that? That's what the test was about. But, like, Kirk, being the hard-headed badass that he is, which is why I prefer Picard, because Picard is much more of a thinking, thoughtful, like, calculating, interested man who has suffered some great losses in his time and has, you know, come up short a few times and has, you know, had to deal with the feelings of loss. You know, that's why Picard is a way more interesting character. And also, not for nothing, but Patrick Stewart is considerably more handsome. That's just, we know this. We know this. I mean, all of us, you know, we have our celebrity list of, you know, if it ever were to happen, and Patrick Stewart is on all of our lists. Doesn't matter, male, female, whatever, like, we all love Patrick Stewart. Anyway, regardless, back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected, and I'm gonna stop right now because nobody wants to hear me. Anyway, regardless, the thing is that nobody likes, well, I don't know about nobody. I don't like unwinnable situations. I don't like it in games where it's like, oh, and you're gonna lose this battle. Oh, and you're gonna die right here, and then you're gonna wake up in a prison cell and all of your stuff's gonna be gone, and then you're gonna have... I hate those. I hate those. They feel so contrived. They feel so, I don't know. I don't like it. It takes away my feeling of control, and that does not make me happy. And so, like, I like to be responsible for my own failure. I don't like failure to be a built-in feature of the game. And so, because that is the case, now granted, you don't have to run it that many times. Like, you know, 2-3 times, and you will have enough to buy some upgrades to, like, you know, to where you're back to feeling like, okay, I didn't make it, that's my fault again, okay, that's fine. But still, that is a feature of the game at all is infuriating, and I don't love that part of it. So let's talk aside from that. Aside from that is my major gripe. Like, mushy controls designed in, and you know what, like, it is charming and endearing the way that they did it, where everything kind of bounces around, your character's head bobbles back and forth, and the wheels get all mushy, and it's designed. If you design a game with this kind of physics and controls, you can make it feel really, really solid. So yeah, I am okay with those things in general. The built-in failure does not make me happy. But what else about this game? Well, first of all, it does have other game modes. You can play it co-op, which is like, what? You can play it online, which is also, because it's a 2D side-scrolling, like, racer pick-me-up thing. How's that work in the co-op and the side-scrolling? Well, my answer to you is that I only ever do the single-player experience in these reviews, so I can't tell you. I've seen footage of it, and it looks like it works fairly well. I'm going to trust that that is the case. For every level, you can go back and play it multiple times. You can beat the level again and again, improve your score, and that is the replayability of the game, is the desire to go faster and better. But you know what? Like, I don't feel as much of the need to go faster and better when it's, when you're playing against the controls of the game, when that's a feature of the game. I don't really care whether I go faster next time. I just care, do I make it to the end? Do I beat the boss? Because you can also replay the boss battles. And by the way, I don't know if we'll make it this far, but I did actually beat that first boss eventually. There is footage of that somewhere in here, and if I blather on long enough, maybe you'll get to see it. But hopefully I won't blather on that long. Regardless, yeah, the replayability part, it's not gonna drag me back as much as I would like. And so there are things about this game that are just inherently disappointing to me, which doesn't make me thrilled for a game that I, apparently wanted for so long. Like I said, I don't know why I put it on my wish list, and I don't know why because every time I would see it, I'd be like, someday I'm gonna get that Funtasia, and then we're really gonna have fun. But yeah, whatever. Did I have fun playing the game? That's the primary question. Did I enjoy myself? And the answer is, yeah, I did. I know that it sounds like I'm complaining a lot about it, and I am, because there are things to complain about. It is by no means a perfect game. Do not expect a perfect game, and you will not be as disappointed as I was. If you go in eyes wide open, knowing what the game is, knowing what its shortcomings are, I could see someone really enjoying this and really being glad that they got it. And, I generally feel glad that I got it, but I also am very glad that I never paid full price for it. I waited for it to go on sale. So yeah, take that into account as well. Anyway, I did have fun with it, and it is an interesting experience. Oh, the soundtrack is excellent, by the way. You're not going to hear it because I don't want to get content matched, because there is no way that it's got a really interesting, it's electronic, but it's also got some non-electronic instrumentation thrown in there, and it's a good blend, and it's really like sort of funky and got a good vibe, and it like complements the gameplay very well. Yeah. And the sound design is excellent. Like all the noises the things make. I love that, there are fart sounds that were obviously made with someone's mouth. Like somebody just went up to a microphone and went, and then, or like, and that's in the game. And I kind of like that just because I still have the sense of humor of a young child. Basically, farts are hilarious. Farts are hilarious. If they make you laugh when you're all alone, then that is inherently hilarious. And I could tell you with a surety that that's what it's been for me. Anyway. So yeah, the game is different than I would have thought, and I am somewhat disappointed in it, and I'm trying not to let my disappointment just sort of, reign over the entire review, because ultimately I kept playing, and ultimately I did have fun with it, and my God, I do love this art style. I really, really do. I think that more than anything is what drew me into this game. And it's a unique experience. I'll just say that. It's a unique experience. It's not like anything you've ever played. You will have a hard time being like, oh, this is exactly like, but it's not though. But it's really not. So, yeah. Anyway, maybe it's one that you want to pick up when it's on sale. That would be my recommended thing. Do not pay the full price, because I wouldn't want it at full price. I feel way more disappointed. Here's the corollary. Like, this is the rule. Is like, my wife and I, when we first got married, we would go and see movies in the dollar theater. Like, there was a really good dollar theater where if you went on certain nights, movies were legitimately $1. And so we would see movies for $1. And I remember we saw a couple that, people had been very disappointed by, because they paid like $20 to see it right when it first came out. And then we would wait a couple of months and then catch it in the dollar theater. And we were like, what? It was fun for $1? And they're like, yeah, we didn't pay $1. We paid 20 times that. So I think if you approach this with the sort of mindset that like, oh, if you pay less for it, then you're probably going to enjoy it more. Oh, here's another thing. I can't believe we are 22, almost 23 minutes in. It's got a little bit of a Garbage Pail Kids vibe. So if you were someone who collects Garbage Pail Kids or collected them back in the day, I know that there are new ones out. People have feelings about whether or not the new ones are as good as the old ones. Of course they're not. How could they be? But like, yeah, if that speaks to you at all, then maybe this game does as well. I don't know. It's interesting. Let's put a final score on it and be done. Okay, so for Funtasia, we're going to go 7 out of a possible 10 monsters driving hot rods, because that seems like the correct number for a game that I generally enjoyed but had some gripes about. So yeah, I think that's going to do it. I think that this is a fun game. It's an interesting game. Good art, good sound. The soundtrack is excellent. It is kind of ridiculous. Death is built in as an expectation, which bothers me, but overall it's still pretty fun. So 7 out of a possible 10, I think, is pretty solid. Anyway, people, that's going to do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.